Hey there, I'm Chef Ani and today we are making a super duper exciting recipe. Today's recipe is strawberry jam scones. This is a tremendous recipe that is super fun to make. It's perfect for strawberry season. I have strawberries on my mind these days and I thought let's get into the kitchen, make something extremely exciting and extremely fun to make. You're gonna have a blast. So let's jump right into this video. So enough talking, let's get cooking. So the first thing we're going to do is to mix together our dry ingredients, starting with some flour. I like to use a combination of all-purpose and whole wheat flour. I feel like that gives me a nice fluffy scone, but still has some value to it, but you can use whatever combination you want to use. The next thing we're going to add is a little bit of all-natural cane sugar. This just gives a slight sweetness to these scones, and we go a little lighter on the sugar here because we're going to add the jam in, which will also sweeten the scones. Some baking powder and a little salt. This is a super simple recipe. I love to whip this out when we have guests because you can make something very quickly that is also impressive and that can make your guests feel like you went to a little bit of extra trouble for them. Now I like to add in some coconut oil, and the reason for this is what gives our scones that light and fluffy texture. And I like to use a pastry cutter to cut in the oil. And if you don't have one of these pastry cutters, you can use a couple of knives and that will work as well. But what we're going for is like a crumbly consistency, kind of like sand. So as I cut this in, I'm going to tell you a little story. Now, if you don't want to use oil, you can do this completely oil-free. Just take out the oil and leave that out of the recipe. I did this once completely by mistake. I made the entire recipe, baked them, I was sitting there eating them, I served it to my entire family, and I'm eating it and I'm going, there's just something missing. Even though it was good and my family really loved it, I just started to laugh at one point because I was like, I think I forgot the oil in this recipe. And I like to put the oil in this recipe because it gives a light texture to these scones, and it also adds a little bit of crispiness around the edges of the scone. You kind of get that crispy outside with that soft interior. It's really good. You can see it's a very crumbly, sandy kind of mixture now. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Next, we're going to add in some wet ingredients. I have some canned coconut milk here. This is extremely good in scones. I'm also going to add in a little bit of lemon extract, but this is optional. It just brightens the flavor of these scones. And I'm also going to add in a little vanilla bean paste, but you can use vanilla extract as well. You don't want to over mix this because you want these scones to be extremely light and fluffy. So you just want to barely mix it, make sure the dry is incorporated, and then you're done. Just going to use half of our mixture and make it into a disc shape. And we're just going to take our jam and put it in the middle of our disc. And you don't want to spread the jam all the way to the edges. It might flow out of the scones while it bakes. So we just like to do it kind of in the middle. And then we're going to do the rest of our scone dough on the top. Cut this disc into the 8 scone shapes. I like to just cut it once right through the middle, being careful not to go down and cut through my silicone mat. And then I like to just space these apart just a little bit. And then we're going to cut like this. And then we just transfer those to a baking sheet tray. And I like to take just a little bit of coconut milk and just spread on the top. And this helps it brown on the top, which is really pretty. And an optional step is to add just a little sprinkle of demerara sugar on the top. This is optional, but my sister Kaya loves this part. And every time I make these scones, she says, you can be a little generous with that part because she likes it because it adds a nice crunch and texture to the top and just a little pop of extra sweetness. So that is of course optional, but I like it too. Now we're going to pop these in the oven to bake. Oh, they look so amazing. They have the little bit of like jam ribbon throughout the scone, which I think is beautiful. Here, Mama, I'll share with you. Isn't that good?
Delicious.
And an optional thing that I like to do just to make these scones just a little bit fancier is to take a lemon glaze and drizzle it on top. And what you simply need for that is some powdered sugar and a little bit of lemon juice. Mix that together to the right consistency, and they look nice for whatever occasion you are serving these at. But you could also leave them the way they are. They're beautiful and charming at the same time. I think that's the word to describe these scones, is just extremely charming. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you want the detailed recipe, you can find it on my website, chefani.com. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post new videos every Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday with another video.